the institution of slavery is not inherently evil. I know. Some of you guys are upset by that. Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years. Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being.
So if everyone in Alabama wanted slavery back, you'd be okay with that?
Sure. If everyone in the state wants it, go ahead.
Do you think there's a direct effect from slavery to how black Americans are able to live today?
No, I don't. They have a chance to learn. They live in the best country in the world.
In my opinion, the white man should have never ended slavery.
Do you think you're more determined to put us in chains than we are to stay out of chains? You understand what slavery actually is? I think it's all mint juleps and southern hospitality and singing in fields. No, slavery was cannibalism. It was turning our skin into shoes. It was cutting off our hair and stuffing couches with it. It was literally us until we had new skin colors. It was you boiling us in vats of sugar to punish us for insurrection. Slavery didn't last so long because of our cowardice. It lasted so long because of your subhuman, inhumane cruelty. All that, and we still resisted. Like, do you realize how many slave masters we actually poisoned? Do you realize that insurance companies in Europe were formed just to protect ships from slave revolt? Slavery always been dangerous. Thomas Jefferson even said it. He said, listen, slavery is like holding a wolf by the ears. You cannot hold on and you scarcely can let him go. Harming us is dangerous. And this was before we had the Second Amendment and was knocking y'all bigots out, sending y'all on Jet 2 holidays left and right. But you stuck on slavery and racism while the world is moving on. You got cities that look like the Jetsons in Asia right now. The American dream lives well all over the world but here.
If slavery never happened, then you would be in a grass hut. Yeah. All right. Well, we need reparations. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You get to have the Christian religion.
That's
live
right.
better than your ancestors.
The greatest moment in history for any brown or black country is the moment that the white man's ships arrive on your shore.
I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
One thing that I really know is that y'all black Americans are not shocked to hear this from these people. The things that have been going on in America have revealed to us what is inside the minds of these people. They really think that enslaving others was a favor. They think that capturing native black Americans and enslave them was a favor. They think that they are naturally superior to black people, and that is why black people deserve to be enslaved. But are their opinions backed by real facts? I guess not. Because if that was true, if they are really superior to black people, they wouldn't be fighting so hard to keep black people down. They wouldn't have been fighting so hard to make sure that black people don't have the same access to what these other people can access. I've got more other clips of people talking about this issue. I really want us to hear from them, listen, learn from what they're saying, and even contribute to the conversation by commenting down there in the comment section. The video is for awareness and educational purpose. If you find it interesting, make sure you hit on that like button and subscribe.
In my opinion, the white man should have never ended slavery.
I'm gonna need you to go take your deep into the hood where it's predominantly black people, and I want you to go say that right in front of them. Do not hide behind your phone. Actually get up and do something about it, because literally all it takes is just one of y'all to stand up. All it takes is one of y'all to stand up, and y'all don't find it weird how y'all be having these rallies and all this other bull in safe areas, right? How come y'all never do that in the hood? I never see y'all in Detroit, ever. So with that being said, sir, if you honest to God really feel that way, I'm gonna need you to go to the hood and express exactly how you feel. Maybe then will everybody take your comments seriously. But until then,
Trump is going to bring back slavery. Hear me out.
So I kept asking the question, why would Trump make government contracts with prison companies to build large facilities to hold all these immigrants that he's planning on arresting if he was planning on deporting them? And then I had an epiphany. Slavery technically is illegal in America unless you're incarcerated. You can look up our amendments. Slavery is illegal unless you're incarcerated. This is why some of the states have already started to put legislation forward that if you're arrested for being an illegal immigrant, they can hold you for an indefinite amount of time. This creates a labor force for the country that's almost free. So he's going to take the workers that were already in the population, take them out of the population, and put them back to work for even less money. Just to be clear, I have no proof of this. This is just my hypothesis. I really hope that that's not the case, but that makes the most sense. Why else would you need to build so many housing facilities for prisoners if you were planning on deporting them all?
And that recent interview clip of the white woman saying if everybody in a state wanted slavery back, she'd be okay with it. That was insane. Okay. That was absolutely crazy. But I feel like when things like this come out, a lot of people will look at someone like her and say, oh my God, she's crazy. I can't believe she said that. That's like one person, like who would think like that? It's like, no. A lot of people feel that way. Maybe wouldn't be so bold as to say it on a public platform, and maybe wouldn't take it to the extreme that she did of the return of actual slavery. But a lot of people have those underlying opinions. That kind of racist indifference is so dangerous because it's not as quickly identified. And when you have indifference to that extent, it is racist. Especially crazy against the backdrop of there being attacks against DEI in this country, right? People don't want to teach slavery in schools. Whole time there are people out here saying they don't mind if it's brought back. Excuse me? People arguing about the validity or the fairness of affirmative action. Meanwhile, the first Black child to integrate all white schools is still alive. There was a KKK rally down the street in the town that I grew up in a couple of years ago, just in broad daylight, walking down the street. I'm like, what? Really, she just said the quiet part out loud. Really, that's like, there's so many people who feel very similarly to her. And sometimes, like, hearing things like this is just a reminder that there are people who really, truly don't care about you and don't care about anyone who just doesn't look like them. And that's
more divided now than it was when Martin Luther King marched when I was a kid. The Civil War was something that no one could do anything about because the whites, quote unquote, whites from the South are not the only ones that had slaves. Slaves are all over the world. Slaves still exist today.
Do you think there's a direct effect from slavery to how Black Americans are able to live today?
No, I don't. They have a chance to learn. They live in the best country in the world. If they open their eyes and listen, instead of just focusing on their little area and people that they hang out with, they would learn a lot.
But from what you said, it sounds like you were born before the civil rights movement.
Oh, yeah.
So Black people couldn't buy houses in your lifetime when you were maybe a baby.
I'm well aware of that.
You were 5. So you don't think there's any downstream effect?
I felt depressed at that time.
Yeah.
But that's what Martin was trying to correct. Right now, I see so many people living off the government handout.
I'm pretty sure welfare use per capita is higher in red states than blue states.
Yes, but there's so many people living off of the government handouts. And that is not that much farther away from slavery. When they were a slave, they were given housing, food, clothing, medical care. The people asked them to work. Yes, there were landowners that were violent and mean to some of them, but there were others that were humanistic.
The real reason white people want to erase the history of slavery is because given the chance, they would absolutely do it again. While not all of us subscribe to this system, a lot do. That's why they like our current president, because he consistently, without fail, reinforces the hierarchy of white people on top, followed by everybody else. Of native citizens on top, followed by everybody else. I consider white supremacy to be one of the most dangerous domestic threats in the United States. Because if you didn't know, there are estimated this many active members in white supremacist organizations. People like your pastor, your neighbor, maybe someone you've seen giving looks to people of color, but not necessarily saying anything. White people try to downplay the effects of white supremacy, but it's significantly more people than they will admit. And those are just the people who are overtly racist and willing to label themselves as part of this organization, not even the other people who genuinely believe in it without speaking on it. Point being, erasing the history of slavery and erasing the horrible atrocities that happened in this country is a genuine crime. And it's intentional, because if it's erased, those patterns are going to repeat themselves. So erasing this history isn't just ignorant, it's malicious.
White people think they're better than black people, and they want to oppress us, and they want us to allow ourselves to be oppressed.
This is the I agree with you perfectly. This is the basic problem.
Then what do you
that white
talk to me
people
about?
think they're better
What's it
than
that I can
others?
do? I can't solve the problem. You guys pull the strings that close schools. You guys draw the boundaries that keep our kids restricted to the ghetto. You guys write up the restrictive covenants that keep us out of houses. So it's up to you to talk to your brothers and your sisters and persuade them that they have a responsibility. We've assumed ours for over 400 years, and we're tired of this kind of stuff now. We're not going to suffer patiently anymore. No more turning the other cheek. No more blessing our enemies. No more praying for those who despitefully use us. We're going to show you that we've learned the lessons you've taught us. We've studied your history, and you did not take over this country by singing "We Shall Overcome." You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire...
A lot of people don't realize that Mississippi didn't abolish slavery till 2013. That was 13 years ago. Nerve of people to constantly tell me, well, Hersey, I wasn't raised to see color and things of that nature. Well, I'm so happy, baby doll, you was able to live in a world full of ignorant bliss, rainbows and sunshine, but here in the real world, my people was being judged off their skin color, hair texture, names was being called ghetto, and applications being denied when they had to come up with these ghetto names in order to identify their loved ones on different plantations because your ancestors, laid was just too goddamn hard working that they had to go and pillage and kidnap, and assault nothing but black people in order to get them to work the mother fields and things of that nature. And and I'm so sorry that you don't see motherfucking color and things of that nature. So no, I'm not going to allow my people to forget. There's still Jim Crow era and segregation in 1969 wasn't that long ago from 2026. I want y'all and I need y'all to believe that. Also, shout out to Dr. Carter G. Woodson who created and invented Black History Month, but I'm going to have to disagree with you, sir. My Black history is every day, so that's 365.
Let slavery come back tomorrow. Well, they don't want us in their little areas and all that. Ain't that funny? They don't want us in their neighborhood. When they own us, we was in their house. Kind of bull is that? Oh, I can't come in the neighborhood, but when you own me, I was warming up your bed. Now, there's something wrong with this picture. When they own us, we had 12 and 14 jobs. Now that we're free, I'm so sorry, there's no jobs. Mad because we got away. Let slavery come back in tomorrow. They'll be on that porch. Welcome home. Get your... Got to go to those 12 jobs in the morning. Your room is just like it was. We haven't changed it. But what about the neighborhood? No, your neighborhood's our neighborhood. It is the truth and nothing but the truth. And they can't handle it. That's too goddamn bad. It is.
The problem that we have in white America is that most white people, when they hear about white racism, most white people say, man, that's not me. I never discriminated against anybody. Never did. In their sense of what discrimination means or what racism is, they may be right. But they sit residing in a system from which they take full benefit, a system that defines them in and defines black people out. We are going to have to face the fact that we are not a community. A community is where a lot of people develop mutually beneficial relationships with each other. And our racist institutions and the political boundaries of our cities define black people out of the community. White people sit in their suburban homes and watch their television programs and hear about all of these laws that are being passed. Many of them are beginning to wonder, well, what is it with those colored people on there? Why are they so upset? All this wonderful stuff that we're doing for them. But we aren't focusing on the black man living on the block. He lives in a two flat on that block, and he knows what the circumstance on that block was 10 years ago, and he knows what it is today. And he too has heard about all of those programs and laws being passed. But the hard fact of the matter is that things are not changing for him. It's no wonder that the white population and the black population are pitted against each other when the black man knows that the change is not coming and the white man thinks that major efforts are being undertaken when they are not. So I don't think anybody should be surprised when one sees the black people in open attack on the system, because I suspect that they don't see that there is any other realistic alternative.
You guys have to realize we're living in a country that financed itself off the backs of enslaved people. So as soon as they had to pay the working class, it was money being lost in that. And there hasn't been a great recovery since. In fact, many of the institutions that are still making money have done so because they got their start in times of enslavement or no workers' rights. So now on the back end of that, we're now seeing when we did form a workforce, we were trained to be like computers. And now all of that training that we took on, being proficient in Microsoft Excel and all these different computer systems, is now being used to train the computers to do the work that we learned to do to try to mimic them. This is because they've always been trying to return to a free workforce. I'd rather have a computer I don't have to buy and is a one-time purchase similar to an enslaved person, rather than having a worker that I have to keep on a salary and a payroll. If anything, this model that is new reflects actually the old model and the most dependent on way of doing things in this country. Why would I pay someone when I can dehumanize something and not have to pay it? And when you take into account that they've built a whole government, a whole country, a whole world superpower off of this, they're not going to be quick to run away from it. We can't even get rid of racism. And the reason we can't get rid of certain things is because they're highly profitable. And highly profitable things shape the norms of a society. If you go to societies that weren't built off the backs of slavery, the first thing they will say about Americans is you work too much. Even with pay, we are still enslaved because that is the model by which our country is built on and founded on. Capitalism only works if somebody is being exploited. When you take away the need of somebody and put something is being exploited, it is golden. And now they have furthered us from our own exploitation. So even our grounds and collectivizing around trying to speak out on our exploitation has become that much more complex. Now we have to speak out on environmental racism, the exploitation of natural resources of communities like water, to companies that no longer seek to even hire us or have humans working for them. The AI model is a perfect enslavement model. And in a society that built their entire reality from enslavement and the institutions that were able to continue from it, things like insurance, things that we are financially enslaved to and expected to pay monthly on, had its groundings in the institution that was slavery. So we are still forced to be operatives in the long-lasting shadows from what has built this nation, while not even being entitled to a chance to earn the capital that is necessary to not be criminalized for not being able to afford the expenses of what it now takes to exist in the society without enslavement, all while we're being diminished in our workforce and diminished in our value as human, so they can then come around and then continue and return back to the enslavement of living bodied people, because work and avenues to survival will become so slim that things that we would once consider even enslavement in the modern American society now become something that is appealing seems justifiable and actually will be coveted. A few years ago, people might not have jumped at the opportunity to live in a work town where your job is tied to your housing. But 10 years from now, that could be a very appealing thing that people are aspiring to be a part of. People will then want to be in enslavement because they've enslaved now technology that is dwindling our resources and devaluing our own human labor to the point that we seek our own exploitation. And as a Black American, I see this cycle at play, and I can't help but say,
it's not a social construct. Race is a hard biological fact, and black folks are just inferior. And I'm like, really? Cool. Why all the sabotage then? Like, if we were naturally inferior, you could give us the very best conditions and we would not succeed. But you don't have to pass laws to stop monkeys from breeding, because they can't. You don't have to lynch dogs out of economically competing with you, because they can't. The people who invented white supremacy knew it was a lie. Violence was the only thing you were actually superior at. And that violence is why you relapsing into this open-faced white supremacy now. Because realistically, and my boy Jay English broke this down to me, white supremacists are like a hit artist that is falling off and they're looking for why they were great. We got to get back on top because we're losing it. So what did we do before? Oh, we had slavery. We had Jim Crow apartheid, but you'll never get it back. You see, they know they're losing the demographic war that they set up. And then they know that globally speaking, the whole West is falling off. BRICS is about to surround them and they can't defeat China and Russia militarily. It's a wrap. So flags at half staff, buddy. That supremacy is over. Do you really want to play with slavery, man? Like, that is a crime akin to...
Okay, yes, but let me add a little bit to this. So I learned a while ago, that even the concept of whiteness and blackness and racism itself was invented by the white elite. They wanted to give the poor white people someone else to hate besides them, because they knew that if the poor white people and the poor black people joined forces, they could overthrow the rich white elite like that. Which is also still true today, incidentally. That's one of the main pillars that holds up our systemic racism. But I digress. Let me continue on my original thought. So the poor white people were quite literally manipulated into hating black people. And that was hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but they passed that hatred on down through the generations. Just think about how sad that is. Anyway, so here we are today with a large number of poor white people who actually worship a white, orange man who pretends to be rich. that to the point where they ignore the treason and the SA and the ignorance, all of it, because at least they're still better than the poor black people.
Let them try it. Let them try it. Let them try to enslave black Americans and see what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that in the minds of many white Americans in America, think that they can do it. They can enslave black Americans again. But one thing that I'm pretty sure about is that they cannot do it. They can do it. Look at the kind of influence that y'all black Americans have on the whole world. The whole world is looking at y'all black Americans as role models. Now, how are they going to do it? Another thing is that black Americans are now included among the decision makers in America. So how are they going to end up making a decision of enslaving black Americans again? It will never happen. No matter what the government, no matter who is ruling America, no matter the government policies, no matter the party that is ruling the country, slavery will never happen again. Trust me on that. Because black Americans are the main influences in America. Black Americans are the drivers of economy in America. Black Americans are putting America on the world stage. Now, how are they going to do it? They will keep thinking about it. They will keep expressing these opinions within their small circles, but putting it in action, really convincing the government to enslave black Americans is not something that is going to happen. And then there is this lady who was talking about how America was built on the back of slaves. That was true. For America to become the richest country on the world, it was due to this hard work of y'all black Americans. Y'all have spent 400 years working for free. You have built everything in your country. You have developed America to this level. And now the capitalist government in America is really not getting it that y'all black Americans are now free. They have been enjoying free labor for many years. And now because y'all are free, they're not getting it. And that is why you're seeing them importing immigrants to work for just a few pennies because they know that y'all black Americans now cannot do it. These big corporations in America have been enjoying free labor for many years. And at the moment of abolishing slavery, they have lost that free labor. And they were not getting it because they were used it to making money without paying the people who made it possible. They are getting immigrants from Africa. They are getting immigrants from Latin America. They are getting immigrants from the Caribbean nations. And the purpose is to make sure that we import people who can accept our bad conditions, our low-paying jobs, and then maximize our profit. And this lady came up with another interesting opinion. She was talking about how they are all interested in developing these AI robots and AI tools with only the purpose of making sure that they don't pay their workers. They maximize their profit. They're not trying to replace their workers with these robots. So the US economy was built on free labor. And that is why these people cannot get it. They cannot understand how people can be enjoying the same freedom as other countries. That is why they're trying to make it hard that you're still at this lower level. That is why they are trying to deny your access to education so that you won't be able to develop your own companies and be able to work for yourselves. They really want you to keep working for them so that they can maximize profits. But luckily enough, now we have many black Americans who understand this agenda, this capitalism agenda, and they are fighting so hard to prevent this from happening. They are fighting so hard to prevent them from employing those undocumented immigrants. Because what is happening is that they are trying to import these undocumented immigrants and then give them jobs that should be given to American citizens, because they know that these immigrants have been living in bad conditions in their respective countries, and if they are paying them maybe $10 per hour, they will accept that. And they lie these immigrants that they are better than black Americans, that they are more respectful than black Americans, that they are more disciplined than black Americans. And because these immigrants don't know the history of America, don't know what has been happening in America, they believe in those lies. They end up hating on black Americans. They end up disrespecting black Americans just because of those lies that they were told by those other people. They don't know that they're being mistreated. They don't know that the money they are receiving from those jobs is not enough, because where they were in their countries, they were struggling. Imagine somebody from Jamaica who couldn't even make $5 a day being paid $11 per hour in the USA. For him, that is luxurious. That money is enough. But for somebody who's been living in America, who know the amount of money that he or she deserves, he or she will not accept earning $11 per hour, knowing that that job should be paid at least $20 per hour. And that is why we see this disconnect between these black immigrants and black Americans. They may look the same, but their minds, their opinions, their understandings are not the same. These immigrants are coming from poverty background. They're struggling. They can do anything possible just to earn money to support their families back home. But these black Americans understand their rights. They understand what their ancestors have spent years fighting for. So they will not accept to be mistreated. They won't accept to be paid this insufficient amount of money for the jobs that deserve to be paid high amount of money. And that is why we keep seeing some of these black Americans saying that your immigrants should be deported. It's because you are going there in the USA and then you accept the mistreatment from these other employers, the kind of mistreatment that black Americans have refused to accept. And then these employers will treat you better than black Americans because they know that black Americans understand their worth. They won't accept to be mistreated. That is where this disconnect between black Americans and black immigrants is coming from. It's very simple. So your people have got your own opinions on this. Some of them really think that it is possible to bring back slavery. But one thing that I'm pretty sure from what I really know is that it cannot happen. And it will never happen, not in 2026, not in 2030, not in the near future. Let me know what y'all think down there in the comment section. And if you have not yet liked the video, just click on the like button. That is the best way to support us. Mr. T, your African brother signing off. Ciao.